Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Mike Halatek, your host for the evening. The Bears, 11 wins, a guaranteed spot in the playoffs, and a shot at not only the NFC North crown, but a possible number one seed overall in the National Football Conference. Here with me, as always, to talk about it, Stevie Push. Drew, Cole, welcome aboard, everybody.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good.
Couldn't be better.
Yeah, it's nice to have a season that's worth talking about, guys.
Yes.
It's, I started my podcast in 2019, so we missed 2018. And it is so joyful to sit here with an 11-win season and still have 2 games to play. I have predicted an 11-win season for 3 straight years. Finally got it right. Hopefully it'll be even more than that. So, guys, welcome to the show. There is so much to talk about. Obviously the epic comeback on Saturday night. The 6 fourth quarter comebacks that we've had so far this year, which sets an all-time record in the Bears franchise. The Bears, as I mentioned before, the Bears clinched a postseason bid, or berth. The scenarios to win the division, the scenarios to be the top seed overall, the cultural change that in Lake Forest that Ben Johnson has brought to the Bears, stadium news. And last but not least, the Pro Bowl roster was announced today, and we have not only 3 members of the Bears that made the Pro Bowl, but all 3 are starters in the Pro Bowl. So what a great time to be a Bears fan. Stevie, Drew, what do you think? I'll go with you first, Drew.
Yeah, I mean, it's a season that, I mean, look, I predicted them to go 10-7 and, maybe they kind of hang around the playoffs, but it's incredible with the NFC field this crowded. You thought like, hey, it's okay if they miss the playoffs because the NFC is so good and, they're still building and all this stuff. But as the wins kept coming, as they kept, just finding ways to come through, it's like, shit, maybe they can really do this. And I mean, the NFC, the AFC, I mean, Josh Allen's not in, or Josh Allen isn't, but like, Lamar Jackson's very likely to miss the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes is going to miss the playoffs. There's just so much weirdness going on right now with the overall NFL that, I mean, this is anybody's year. So it's just a very exciting time and, well-deserved. The coaching staff, can't say enough of what they've done, how much they've injected energy. And I'm sure we'll talk about it as we talk about the game, but there's just a vibe, and it's just fitting that I no longer live in Chicago at the moment to not experience the city as it must have been buzzing on Saturday night. Just some really cool stuff going on right now with the Bears.
The whole town probably blew a .12, huh, Stevie?
Well, you stole my joke because I was going to say that Tom blew a 0.16 because the city was drunk Saturday night. I had a few beverages while watching the game. But I'll say, Drew, being in the city, watching this unfold throughout the whole season has been a tremendous experience, one of the best experiences I've felt. I lived in the city during 2018. I lived in the city during the 2001 season, the 2006 season. This one has been completely different because there's been so many different aspects to this season.
Yeah.
Whether it was losing a game that you had control of to start the season, making J.J. McCarthy look like the best quarterback of that class that first game by letting him score 21 points off of you to lose that game, going to the Detroit game blown out, Ben Johnson having that death look on his face of like, wow, I'm a head coach and I really have to overhaul this thing. And then turning around 2 weeks later, getting at 500, going to Washington, getting that win to redeem yourself. getting all the miraculous wins, whether it's getting the 14-point comeback against the Giants, the last-second touchdown against the Bengals, the special teams set up the game-winning field goal against Minnesota, and then this past weekend at home, a holiday game against your rival, Saturday night primetime. It was – I've never felt the city just that wired the whole day because I went out shopping – in the neighborhood. Everyone was wearing Bears stuff. Driving home, all the bars were packed. I turned my car around to go to a holiday party after I left my mom's house to go home from the game because my friend had called me. He's like, "Hey, we got to celebrate this win." I'm like, "Cool." I did a U-turn in the middle of a busy street. Thankfully, no one was coming. But it just goes to show how fun this city can be and how much they want a winner and how much the Bears mean to this city. It's being seen with just every win and every game that's transpiring in Ben Johnson's first year as a head coach for the Chicago Bears, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Absolutely. To Drew's point, there are 5 teams in the NFC, 5, that already have 10 or more wins. So you have
Crazy.
To go over them, you have, what do we have? We have Eagles with 10, the Bears with 11, the 49ers with 11, the Rams with 11, and last but not least, on top of the heap, a big surprise is Seattle that has 12 wins. So 10-7 probably doesn't make the playoffs as a wild card team this year. How absolutely crazy is that?
Yeah.
Very much so. I mean, it's just one of those things where teams that we expected to be potentially at least interesting, were not. I mean, the Commanders, I knew that was going to be a regression team, but to have the season they had is like the Cardinals also, I thought they'd be interesting, at least to some extent. No, the Vikings, I mean, that's a disaster story of its own, but I mean, the Lions, expected to be a contender. And honestly, the 49ers were not after all the injuries. And it's just amazing how they've kept the train on the track. And I mean, each team has taken care of business. And it's just really cool. Like, I mean, and like I was saying, I mean, the Bears somehow finding a way to keep, their own train on the tracks and pull these games out. It's wild. And so now the seeding in the NFC is going to be super interesting because whoever gets the number 1 seed is obviously going to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. If it's the Rams, they are the best team in the NFL in my opinion. But if they don't really play real home games because it's LA and the opposing fan bases take over. Seattle is hell for opposing teams. The Bears, Soldier Field is hell for opposing teams. So if either one of those teams, and I mean, San Francisco can be, not a tough place to play, but it's in terms of weather, but environment, yeah, it will be because there's 49er fans everywhere. But again, like whichever team gets the 1 seed is going to have a hell of an advantage. And, even if you're not necessarily matching up, fully talent wise or aren't fully healthy, I mean, that stuff matters a lot in the playoffs when you have these hyper specific game plans and all these things. So yeah, it's just very fascinating how the seeding will turn out because the Bears could end up, if they clinch the number 2 seed, hosting, one of the teams that they've already kind of finished up the season with here with the 49ers or the Packers. So it's kind of wild.
Well, let's talk about that Packer game Saturday night, shall we? The game was crazy from start to finish. Again, we have those. We are just snake bitten with slow starts, and here we are again. We get it was an unfortunate injury to Jordan Love, and I don't know what you guys think about it. It wasn't a dirty play. He was rushing. His head was a little up. It wasn't.
But he did lower it though.
He
did lower it. Yeah.
But Jordan Love ducked into.
Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, Jordan ducked into the.
if he hadn't have done that, Booker would have hit him in the chest. But it is what it is. Now, I've seen a lot of couples, a lot of comments that, well, guys, it took you to beat the backup in order for you to win that game, and some other Bears fans would sit there and say, well, they weren't planning to be defending Malik Willis. And he's actually, don't be surprised if this guy gets some action with all of the injuries in the NFL this year. Don't be surprised if this guy doesn't get some attention to go elsewhere in 2026. But we ended up falling behind. Willis threw that touchdown pass, and on that touchdown pass, CJ Gardner-Johnson pulled up Gimpy with a knee. I have not yet heard or seen the severity of this injury. We'll know more tomorrow. Have either of you seen anything? Because I work from 12 to 6, so I just barely got home in time to get the show ready.
I have not. I heard on the news that they had a practice, but I don't think they were needing to release an injury report today. They are not practicing on Christmas Day. And with it being a elongated week, I think that is kind of throwing some confusion into how the injury report is reported this week.
Yeah, I think the injury report is released tomorrow. But, I mean, the fact that Gardner-Johnson didn't finish the game, right, is obviously not good. It seemed like it was non-contact, which is obviously not good either. They only had his status, though, as doubtful. So, I mean, maybe there's a chance that he's, just wanted to rest it up and just didn't want to, injure him for the playoffs. Because, I mean, you have to have somewhat of a long-term view, this late in the season, I feel like. But, I mean, hopefully he's okay because the Bears need him so badly.
Yeah.
Stevie, go ahead. I'm sure you got some more you'd like to add to this.
Yeah, what I'll say, kudos to Matt LaFleur and Malik Willis, because those guys did a tremendous job in a really crappy situation. In a big game, you have momentum already working against you because you lost arguably the best defensive player in the league the week before. Your starting quarterback goes down. You're in a hostile environment. Matt LaFleur called a perfect offensive game plan for his backup. He kept it very simple. And he faked the run. He faked the pass when they ran it. When the Bears were expecting pass, they led with the run when the Bears were expecting pass, and vice versa. Dennis Allen is a tremendous defensive coordinator. Matt LaFleur outcoached him. I had my thought, and yeah, he did. And that's a sign of a good/great NFL head coach. What do you do when things are against you? Can you weather the storm? And the best way to weather the storm is make it simple for the players that don't have playing time, that don't have familiarity starting. And that's what Matt LaFleur did. Regarding Ben Johnson, I'm happy that the Bears came back to win. I thought for the most part, he got outcoached by Matt LaFleur. I texted you guys in the group chat midway through this game, and I was like, hey, you know what? This is not one of Ben Johnson's better games. I didn't like the flow. It was missing some aggressiveness. I felt like they were just trying to play close to the chest and say, hey, you know what? If we get out here with a 16-10 victory, that's good enough. Where it should have been, hey, you know what? Your backup quarterback's in. Let's get up. Let's get some quick scoring drives in. Maybe go up by 10, 14 points and kind of make you have to beat us with your backup quarterback. I thought that was a huge missed opportunity with Ben Johnson, how he called his offensive game plan, especially during the second and third quarter, because you had all the momentum with the crowd. You had that first drive. I thought that fourth down call where they tried snapping it between Cole Kmet's legs was arguably his worst play call of the year, because that close to the goal line, 4th and 1, momentum on your side, sneak it with Caleb, sneak it with Cole Kmet, run a dive with either Swift or Mungai. Don't try to get cute in that situation because even if you don't pick up the first down and you turn the ball over, you have the Packers backed up against their goal line in a very bad situation for a punter where you would have gotten very favorable field position had you have gotten the ball back on 3 and out.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead, Dhruv. You sound like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, no, I was just going to kind of piggyback. I just kind of finished rewatching the game not too long before this. I didn't get a chance to do that before today. So, so some of these thoughts are kind of fresh after rewatching it. So, yeah, I agree with you, Stevie. I did not like the 4th and 1 call. One, because, it just wasn't necessary the way I think the Bears offensive line was bullying them on the first possession. The Bears had them off balance and they were doing a good job. So I didn't like the play call. Of course, they also lost field position with that. I will say, it's hard to judge Ben Johnson's second and third quarters because the Bears just didn't have the ball. Like the on offense for Matt LaFleur and the Packers, you're right. It was a fucking phenomenal game. Sorry, Mike. I don't know if we're allowed to swear.
I don't know. I don't know if my friends out in California are watching, but until he lets me know he's in the audience, I guess we're free and clear tonight.
I'll try to keep it clean.
Matthew, if you're out there,
we're working blue tonight.
if you're out there watching with your dad, we're sorry, but let us know you're there so we can curtail. Otherwise, it's going to be a free flowing night tonight, baby.
I'll try to keep it clean. I thought Matt LaFleur and Malik Willis were flawless with how they goaled it, and I think honestly, look, the Bears didn't prep for a mobile backup quarterback today, right? Their entire game plan, the first game plan against when they were at Lambeau was let's try to blitz, let's try to create some explosives on defense. They didn't do a good job and they got burned. And so today, on Saturday night, they went the complete opposite. They went heavy zone, keep things in front. We're okay with kind of like the Matt Eberflus sort of defense. We're okay with kind of giving away possession down to down and having the Packers control possession as long as we stop them in the red zone. And they did, which is great. And that's ultimately what helped them win the game. But I think, overall, the way the Packers kept the Bears, especially when Malik Willis came into the game, off balance, I thought it was just unacceptable how they didn't, have contain on that 4th and 1 read option that Malik Willis kind of went along the left edge to pick up the first down. I think it was in the second quarter. That kind of stuff, I felt like the Bears didn't do a good enough job adjusting on defense, but I get it. Look, you have a game plan and you're still trying to contend with very good speed that the Packers have. So it was a tough spot. And ultimately on run defense, the math changed because Willis became a runner. And so I get it. But, overall down to down, I thought, the Packers did a good job on offense. On defense, Jeff Hafley called an amazing game. Amazing. Like some of the stuff he was doing to confuse Caleb, just literally just have some of these Bears offensive players in hell. Like, I mean, the way they schemed up unblocked pressures, simulated pressures, creepers, it was so cool. And rotating, post-snap coverages. There were a few times where they showed 2 high shells and then they rotated to cover 3 or kind of like dropping one of the safeties as a robber. Really cool stuff. And so, look, the Bears struggled in some cases. I think they got Caleb Williams to second guess at times and he threw it away. In some cases, they were able to match, what the receivers were doing and kind of take away quite a few of the options. And so they left Caleb without much of an option except to throw it away. So overall, Hafley did a great job. But then the Bears found answers, I think, towards the end. And one of my favorite parts of the entire game was the goal line sequence after the onside kick when the Bears needed the touchdown. Jeff Hafley called cover 0 on 2 straight plays. And on the first play, he played cover 0, but he also dropped a defensive lineman in the hot window, which would have been like one of those like slant options to Caleb. Caleb didn't throw it. He had an open Colston Loveland across the middle. He overthrew it, hit the goalpost or whatever. And then Hafley did the exact same thing on the next play. But Caleb this time, or the way Ben designed the play was he made sure that the unblocked person that was going to come on the rush was going to be from the left side, allowed Caleb to drift right, and they had the answer because again the Packers dropped another sort of like hot dropper, back to take away Olamide Zaccheaus on like a little slant that would have gotten the first down, and then Jade Walker goes does like a scissors concept almost to the right, and just a beautiful throw, which I thought live I was like, oh no, he threw that away. Like that's going to go sail past the back of the end zone. And I mean, it was a perfect throw. Walker with a great catch. Like really cool cat and mouse stuff towards the end. And then of course, I mean, we'll talk about the last play and the last throw, I'm sure, but that design, was so cool, and it built off a concept that they did earlier in the game. And it was that cat and mouse stuff that I was just like, this is so cool. This is elite coaches just going at each other, and Ben ultimately won out enough times.
What I'll say very quickly to piggyback off of what Ben Johnson, I will give him kudos for the flawless game plan he called in the last two offensive drives of regulation, but also in overtime, you could tell he was trying to get to go for the kill shot as fast as possible, because on the first play they roll Caleb out for on the right side, and you could tell he was looking deep. It just wasn't there. But like I like that, where like, hey, you know what? We got momentum. Let's just go for the kill shot. And yeah, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, so that's actually a theme with Ben. He's been doing that all year. Whenever there's a sudden change, either a turnover or a stop on fourth downs, like whenever there's a sudden change where the Bears get control on offense, the first play is an explosive attempt every single time. He did this against the Steelers. He's done this against the Vikings. He did this against, just every single time the Bears take over on sudden change, it is an explosive attempt on the first play. Every time. I've seen this since the bye week, and it's cool. And it's the right way. It's the right thing to do.
That was the running joke on NFL primetime for over 30 years. What do you do after a takeaway? Go for the jugular. Yeah. So, it was it was like, as much as I was frustrated with Ben during a good portion of the game, he showed his true colors towards the end. And that's the reason why the Bears were victorious.
Do we want to talk about the last throw? Because
before we do, let's set it up. Okay. Because there was 2:03 left in the fourth quarter when the Bears snapped the ball for the field goal attempt. They were trailing 16-6. And boy, you got to give hats off to Cairo Santos, because the wins were absolutely mind-boggling. There was a game that the Bears played against San Francisco, which was the game where
Nathan Vasher.
They had the 108-yard return on that missed field goal that he almost whiffed on because the ball was blown 6 feet beyond the uprights. But fortunately, that ball stayed in the field of play, which created the touchdown. So you got to give, number one, you got to give hats off to Santos. Hats off to Santos again for that perfectly executed onside kick. That the ball popped up at the last minute, and Dobbs was like, "Holy shit!" and he flinched on the ball. And of course, let's talk about that last drive. Like you said, was absolutely spot on, perfect.
Yeah.
Stevie.
Stevie, go ahead. You go first.
What I was going to say is, like, Cairo Santos has that down to a T, because this is back-to-back years that they've recovered onside kicks in similar fashion. And with the changes on the onside kick, that's the only way you're going to recover one now, unless you do the watermelon kick where it just spins around and you just barely get it to go 10 yards and your guy jumps on it. The best thing you could do right now is have your guys engage and hope to, like, it bounces off the lower leg of the defender, which the Bears have done twice, whether it was last year against the Vikings to set up the overtime loss at home against the Vikings, or this year to set up the game-tying touchdown from Caleb Williams.
100%. I mean, just flawless execution. It's funny. I actually put on Twitter or X last week when Cairo missed the 35-yarder against Cleveland. A lot of people were like, "Oh, cut Cairo, blah blah blah." I'm like, look, guys. Like, yes, I understand he has limitations, but more often than not, when needed, he has been money, and he knows how to kick at Soldier Field. And then, yeah, Saturday night, I mean, gusting winds and just crazy situations, and he's able to execute every time. I mean, that's why you have a kicker like Cairo, and you rely and you keep a kicker like Cairo. So that was very important. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna jump, Mike. I'm just gonna jump to the last play.
Cool.
It was so cool, man. So earlier in the game, if you guys remember, I think it was either after the Bears got the fourth down stop on the first drive, or it was after Jacobs fumbled. It was after Jacobs fumbled at the goal line. Bears recovered. They're at their own like 1 or 2. Bears line up in the exact same formation. Smythe it's an I formation. Smythe at fullback, and then they motion Cole Kmet across the formation, and they just run this like zone ISO sort of thing, and they gain like 12 yards or whatever because Monangai broke a tackle like after like 2 yards, and then he gained more yards. So that was that's clear. That's a clear running situation. That the exact same, and then the exact same situation kind of manifests in overtime. They come out in the same formation. The Bears had just gotten the first down from Monangai, right? Now they're in plus territory. Bears need a field goal to win. So the way the Packers are reading this, they're like, yeah, the Bears are going to run this out because why would they do anything else, right? So they drop their safeties down, and the Bears are again in I formation. They motion Kmet across, and then Caleb basically audibles to DJ, and he's like, I don't know if it's either the audible or it was like a check built into the play, whatever. I don't know exactly how they did it, but he basically is like, dude, these safeties are dropping. They're going for the run. We've shown this look before. Boom. And then, yeah, I mean, they have no safety help, DJ, deep post, and then just the throw was unbelievable. So,
Perfect.
That's an all-time.
The throw in those conditions, mind you, too.
Yeah, in those, just all-time moment. Moment.
Guys, that ball traveled almost 57 yards. It was just under 57 yards in the air, according to statistics. I thought it was actually a little bit further.
I thought it was at least 60 because he dropped back to the Bears 45 and threw that, right?
He was just his left foot when is on the throw was just on the Bears side of the 45, and the ball hit him. And DJ caught it. I thought he caught it about 3 yards deep in the end zone. So that's that's 58 yards. In those conditions, with that wind blowing, and it was an absolute freaking dime. Guys, before we go into the 6 comebacks, we've already talked about this one, obviously. I want to give a shout out to Vengeance 7092. And he's got a question. I'm going to answer, and then you guys can piggyback on my answer. Vengeance says, I'm pondering if we should rest our players so we don't get more injuries. No, Vengeance, it's a great question, but a couple things. Number one, they haven't clinched the division yet. So they have to win the division to get a home game, number one. Number two, they're still in contention for the top overall seed in the NFL. So and history has shown lately that resting players in the regular season tends to have that team come out flat in their first playoff game. Sometimes they don't even win that playoff game. So, Vengeance, it's a great question. I'm going to say that the Bears should not rest any players unless they absolutely have no other option in terms of seeding. So, Dhruv, what's your thought on Vengeance question?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, unless there's they're locked into a certain seed, then I can understand that thinking. But until then, no. You have a chance at the division. You have a chance at the 1 seed. And there's been a lot of consternation about sometimes like the 1 seed may sometimes hinder because a team you're coming off a break and and other teams coming into your environment a little bit more hungry, coming off a win the previous week, they would have. So, and we saw that happen with the Lions last year. So I understand that, but it's just one of those things where until the stakes are entirely taken care of, which right now they're not, you can't rest them. Like you can't coach and play with that mindset, because like right now, you're going to see very likely these teams in the playoffs too. Like the 49ers, like they're very likely a potential matchup for them in the first round if they don't get the 1 seed, or the Packers could be, right? They just played them. So you can't have that mindset in the NFL, I think.
What I'll say is, I'm in agreement with you guys. I mean, the only scenario where the Bears would actually have a chance to rest guys would be if they take care of business against the 49ers, lock up the division, and would the win would it secure them at worst of the 2 seed if they beat the 49ers, or they have to win out to at least secure the 2 seed?
If they beat the 49ers, I believe, if they beat the 49ers or the Lions, I believe they win the division, and I think they clinch the 2 seed. The only way they lose the 2 seed is if they
lose both games.
Eagles win out.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say though is the only way I see that happening, where they rest guys, is say the Lions lose this week. Because if the Lions lose this week, are they mathematically out?
Yes.
At that point? Okay. So if they lose this week.
Say that over again. I missed that.
What I was saying is if the Lions lose this week, are they mathematically eliminated?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so if the Lions lose this week, the only scenario, I'm trying to explain the scenario that I could see Ben Johnson resting guys. Lions lose this week, Seahawks lose this week, or Lions lose this week, Seahawks lose this week, and then the Bears come home to play the Lions. Dan Campbell says, you know what, our season's over. Jared Goff, St. Brown, I don't want to lose any more guys this season to significant injuries. All the backups are playing. Ben Johnson sees this. He starts the starters maybe for a quarter half. You get a 17-0 lead. You get your guys out of there. That's the only way I see the Bears resting guys for the playoffs at that point. Because even the other thing that we have to take into account is how the NFL is going to set up the schedule after this weekend. They're going to make sure that there's no chance of guys getting rested for the playoff teams.
Yep.
They're going to make it to where the Bears play Sunday afternoon, and the Seahawks, if they win this week against the Panthers, play the Sunday night game just to ensure that the Bears aren't resting guys, because the Bears have to win. That type of thing.
Here's the playoff scenarios, the way I understand them. If the Bears beat San Francisco, they clinch the 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If the Bears lose to San Francisco, but Green Bay loses to Baltimore, they clinch the division and clinch at least the 3 seed.
The Bears can't fall. The Bears cannot fall below the 3rd seed. So they've already technically clinched the 3 seed, and they can clinch the 2 seed.
Well,
the Bears can technically have the division in hand before they take the field in San Francisco, right?
Well, I'm sorry?
The Bears can technically have the division in hand before they take the field on Sunday night.
Yes, if Green Bay loses.
Okay.
Green Bay loses.
Okay. So here, let's start over. Okay. If the Bears beat San Francisco, they automatically are the number 2 seed. If the Bears lose to San Francisco, but Green Bay loses to Baltimore, they do still clinch the division and no worse than the number 3 seed. If Philly also loses to Buffalo, the Bears clinch the 2 seed even with a loss to San Francisco if Green Bay loses.
Correct.
The number 1 seed is theirs, but they have to win both games at San Francisco and the finale at home against Detroit. And Seattle has to lose one of their last 2.
Yep.
I'm going to look up who they're playing.
They play the Panthers this week. And
then they play San Francisco to end the season.
Right. So they play the Panthers, I think, in Carolina, and then they play the 49ers. I don't know where in San Francisco. You're correct, because
all Seattle's games, last 2 games are road games.
Yep.
So what plays into the Bears' hands.
And so it's kind of flipping it. If the 49ers win out, they win the 1 seed.
That's correct.
Yeah, which is crazy given the
Yeah.
injuries they've had. Just unbelievable what kind of a season they've had. But yeah, I mean, it's like that's what's wild is that so many teams have a shot at the 1 seed. I mean, the Rams obviously still have a shot at the 1 seed. So, I mean, it just a crazy season. You have like really, really fucking good teams, and then you have some really, really, really shitty teams.
All
we'll
right.
see what happens.
Let's talk about these comebacks because they've been absolutely mind-boggling. The Bears, for so long, guys, the Bears have always been on the losing end of games like this. So they think back to the Denver game a couple of years ago in Chicago, where they scored 28 points in the second half to defeat the Bears when the Bears seemingly had that game well in hand. But all right, so we're going to go in reverse order from the last one to the first one. So again, 2:03 left in the fourth quarter. Bears trail 16-6. They come back and win 22-16. The Bears were trailing 20-10 against the Giants with 4 minutes left. Came back in that game. They were trailing in Cincinnati 42-41 with only 25 seconds left to go in the game. They beat Washington with a last-minute field goal. They were trailing 24-22 with 3 seconds left. And in Oakland, they were trailing 24-19 with 1:39 left. Scored a touchdown, and then on the last play of the game, blocked the field goal to nail that game for the first comeback victory of the year. Guys, I mean, different ways, different scenarios, but in the end, it all came up roses for the Bears. This is eerily reminiscent of the Minnesota Vikings season a couple of years ago, where they were like 8-1 in one-score games. And then the following season, it all went backwards, and they were like 2-6 in one-score games. But it has been the Cardiac Bears and Captain Cardiac Caleb all season long.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because like I feel like against the Raiders, I think the Raiders were the better team down to down, but the Bears found a way to win. Against the Commanders, I thought the Bears were the better team down to down, but the Commanders found a way to win, or the Bears found a way to win, even though the Commanders had kind of control late in the game, and the Bears got some good fortune. Thought the Giants, the Bengals, Bears were the better team down to down. Giants, kind of even. Jackson Dart got away with so much bullshit in that game, but played fairly well enough to be taken seriously. So it was kind of an even split in that one. And then the Vikings, again, the Bears were the better team down to down. And the Packers game, I thought the Packers were the better team down to down. So just like weird kind of game flows and situations in each of these little comeback wins. And at the end of the day, like, yeah, have the Bears gotten some fortuitous breaks at times? Sure. Have the Bears been victimized by some tough officiating? Yes. But at the end of the day, like the Bears will have, they've taken advantage of their breaks, and they've come through. Now, is this sustainable? Like next season's a brand new season with a brand new set of establishment of culture and shit to do. Like this isn't stuff that just carries over. Like we've established, like with the Vikings, they didn't have the same success the next year. The Chiefs this year, a lot of one-score games that they came out losing. So this stuff doesn't necessarily carry over year to year, but so next year they're going to have to obviously take the next step, but just enough, in the beginning, I feel like them winning that Raiders game was the first proof of concept that, that resilience, that because that is a game they lose 100 times out of 100 in previous years, right? They somehow won that game. And then as they just kept building and building and building. So, and then in some phases they didn't win. They didn't come through. Like in the game at Lambeau, the Bears were again driving and they were right there inside the 10, and they weren't able to get it done because Caleb threw a pick. And again, like that was probably something they needed to experience so that they could figure out how to beat them the next time. So long way of saying there's been a mix of when the Bears have been the better team and deserve to win versus maybe coming up a little bit more quote unquote lucky, but still taking advantage of an opportunity. But ultimately, like, that's the difference. Like the difference usually between teams in the NFL is a handful of plays.
Yeah.
Always comes down to 2 or 3, 9 times out of 10. How many one-score games are there week in and week out in this league?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, look what happened in Detroit this week. It came down to a one-score game that.
No kidding.
What?
I mean, look at the Bills. Like the Bills, like they fucked around with the Browns for the entire game pretty much, and they somehow squeaked away a win. Like, is anyone really going to put the Browns and the Bills at the same caliber of team? No, but this stuff happens in the NFL. Like these are all good players, and they're all professional, and things happen.
It's so weird when you see what the Bears did with Cleveland versus what Buffalo almost lost that game. Speaking of the Detroit game, I got to tell you the Thursday night game where Seattle won because they ended up getting a 2-point conversion on a fumbled, I should say a lateral went off the helmet of the defender into the end zone, and nonchalantly the Seattle receiver picks up the ball and they go, wait a minute, let's review this. And then to have Detroit lose on the last play of the game the funny thing is the referee just screwed up the announcement because he says the ruling on the field is a touchdown, and Detroit, the crowd went absolutely nuts. Didn't hear the fact that, but by the way, there was a penalty, game's over, no touchdown. And so between those two games, you've got the Bears crazy ending. What a fantastic weekend of football in the NFL this past weekend.
Yeah, the NFL really needed this week to have good football because, like for me, I was at work Thursday night. I stayed up to watch that game up until overtime. I was really tired that night, so I watched the whole fourth quarter. Saturday, you had the Eagles-Commanders game. The Commanders, for a good portion of the game, put up a tough fight before the Eagles just said, all right, we're done with you. You had the Saturday night game. And then also you had a terrific Sunday night game, too, in Baltimore, where the Patriots came back to win that game. And you're just – the Ravens, you're just like, you're looking at some of the what now are becoming the old guard in the NFL, whether it's the Baltimore Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Kansas City Chiefs. You're starting to see that transition into the new culture. I'll be honest, I didn't watch any of the early games. I was out Christmas shopping. I had gotten my football fix for Saturday night with the Bears, but I kind of wanted to get back as soon as possible late Sunday afternoon so I could watch that Lions-Steelers game solely for the purpose to see the Bears clinch a playoff spot. The NFL needed this week because starting Thursday, this is a rough schedule of games. Whether I know like the schedule was put out in April, and they thought they had the perfect Christmas schedule. I'm surprised the NFL, as a joke, hasn't brought back those old like commercials from the mid 2000s, where at the end of the year they'd always show like fans making predictions at the start of the season, and it'd just be the most like crappiest predictions. Like, hey, the Dolphins, Ricky Williams going to win the rushing title the year that he retired a week before the season started. Those types of jokes. And, as much as I love football, I'm still going to watch the Christmas Day games. But the Sunday games, other than Carolina and Seattle in that early window, is there's nothing else really to watch. I mean, Saints and Titans, and then
Dude,
for the late.
I'm actually so excited to watch Cam Ward and Tyler Shuck. Like, this is a rookie quarterback battle for we're talking about future NFL, the legacy of the NFL going forward. I'm actually, that's just me as a nerd.
No, I'll still watch. I've got Sunday ticket. I'm gonna watch several of those games. But like the other thing that pisses me off about this, and I know there's not that many games on Sunday because you have the Saturday, you have 5 games between Thursday and Saturday.
Correct.
I am so sick of the NFL and the networks doing this thing where it's okay, 2 late games, one's the national televised game, one's the regional game, because your Foxes better be praying that it's not a blowout by halftime because you're really going to lose ratings if the Eagles are up by 28 or the Bills are up by 28. I'm happy that I have Sunday ticket because the Bears are playing Sunday night. I need something to get me up. Eagles Bills. I know it is the last game of Ralph Wilson Stadium, right?
Yes, I believe it is.
Other than that, and it beat like 2 good teams. I need a third or fourth game in my late Sunday afternoon. I love flipping. Especially late in the season, there's a beauty about having 3 or 4 games. Like this past Sunday, I was flipping back and forth between the Texans Raiders game and the Jags Denver game. It was a fun time because this past Sunday's late afternoon game slate was really good. This upcoming week, not so much.
Yeah.
So here's the lineup for this week's games. On Christmas Day at 3:30, these are all Central Time. So Lions at Vikings. That could be a good game. Cowboys at Commanders. It's like, who cares?
Don't care.
Well, I like Cowboys Commanders when they play in Washington. It's a 12 o'clock game. I'm fine with that one because Dak, the Cowboys offense, even though they're eliminated, they still can put some points on the board. That Lions game, it gives you something to watch from a Bears fan perspective because that plays big into next week. Because if the Vikings pull the upset, Dan Campbell could easily say, "Hey, you know what? We're done." And we'll see Jared Goff and the rest of the starters in 2026.
Yeah, the Vikings are a 7.5-point underdog, and that's a 3:30 game. The noon game, like you said, Cowboys are at Washington, and then the 7:15 game is the game that the network probably thought they had a gold mine with the Broncos at the Chiefs, but unfortunately, the Chiefs. Just got dismantled this year. Saturday, you've got a 3:30 game, and this will be a fun game. Houston at LA to face the Chargers, and then
that's like a playoff game. That's basically.
Oh yeah,
and then every Bear fan alive is going to be rooting for Baltimore when they visit Green Bay. That's at the 7 o'clock game on Saturday night. Then the early slate games for Sunday. Seattle has to go out to Carolina. The Cardinals at Bengals, who cares? Steelers at Browns, who cares? Jaguars at Colts could be a fun game to watch because Colts, I don't know if they're still alive or not, but they would be desperate anyway.
Basically dead. They're basically dead.
So the Colts, yeah.
At Dolphins is a noon game, and the Buccaneers desperately need to win that game.
That could be an ugly shootout. I might watch that game because that'd be a fun. I could see that one being a 38-31 game somehow.
Dude, I will on a different day. I will wax poetic about the Bucs because they're the team that have pissed me off so much because of the shit that they've done. Like the NFC South does not deserve a playoff team. Let's be real. But I mean, at this point, I feel like the Panthers are probably more deserving considering they've made the most of their opportunities and the Bucs have, shit the bed a lot. Even though, I mean, I love Baker, but just Todd Bowles is inept, just inept.
But I don't even know if the Panthers deserve it because they lost to the Saints the week before to be in the Bucks.
That is true. Yeah, they lost.
Well, the Panthers are 8-7. The Bucks are 7-8. So if the Panthers beat Seattle, Tampa has to win that game because I believe they play each other in Week 18.
Yep, it sets up a winner take all. Yep.
That would probably be a Saturday. That would probably be the Saturday night game, if not the Sunday.
I think week 17, it's all Sunday. Week 17, it's all Sunday at noon unless the one game is flexed.
Well, no, I meant like Saturday.
There's one Sunday game that will get flexed to 7
to a Saturday.
Right. And then they'll establish the noon and 3 o'clock games.
Right. And what I was saying is that, I mean, if it comes down to a win and you win the division for the Bucks Panthers compared to Seattle, San Francisco fighting for the division, I can see both of them being night games. It just depends on which one's going to be the Saturday or Sunday game. But with the first seed on the line, I think the NFL plays it safe to have that be the Sunday night game.
Yeah.
So let's see. So to finish off, Patriots are in New York to play the Jets and the Saints and the Titans, which Stevie, you had already mentioned. Those are all noon games on Sunday. There's only 2 3 o'clock window games. The Giants are in Vegas to play the Raiders.
Oh my God.
But hey, don't mock that game. Don't mock that game because finish up.
Philadelphia has to play Buffalo. And
that'll be fun.
Every Bear fan's a Buffalo fan.
Yes.
The reason why I was telling Dhruv not to mock the Giants Raiders game for 2 things. One, it's got huge draft implications for that game. 2, there's going to be a lot of New Yorkers going west for their holidays. They're, even though the Giants suck, they're going to make it a point to go to Vegas just to get out of the cold weather, even though it hasn't been that cold in New York the last week. But I could see that game being like just similar to the Bears, where it's a migration for the road team.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Sunday night game is Bears in San Francisco. So, and then Monday night, you've got the Rams traveling to Atlanta to play the Falcons.
You want to know why I love that game so much?
Why is that?
So the Rams have the Falcons first round pick in the James Pierce trade. So the Rams can beat the Falcons in primetime in their own building and improve their own draft pick. So funny. It's so good. Just insult to injury.
So let's we might as well go ahead and do week 18. So here's week 18. Let me get my glasses on so I can read it. Of course, the Lions and all times are to be determined after Sunday night, probably. Lions at Bears, Packers at Vikings, Ravens at Steelers, Seahawks at 49ers, Panthers at Buccaneers, Saints at Falcons, Jets, Bills in Buffalo. So that'll be your last game.
Okay.
Mark,
there we go.
Unless they host a playoff game. Browns, Bengals, Chargers, Broncos. That'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
Colts, Texans, Titans, Jaguars, Chiefs, Raiders, Cardinals, Rams, Dolphins, Patriots, Cowboys, Giants, and then to finish off week 18, the Commanders will go on the road to face Philadelphia.
Don't look now, but if
good matchups in week 18.
So don't look now, but that Chargers Broncos game could sneakily be for the division as well. If the Chargers, even if so the Chargers are 1 game back, right now, I think, and so I don't know how the tiebreaker works in terms of like the divisional records, but I think the Chargers have done pretty well in the division, and so have the Broncos. So there is a scenario where that game could set up as a winner take all for the division.
I would.
In that case, I can see that.
Go ahead, Stevie.
I was going to say that even I can see that one being the premier late afternoon game for the season finale for the networks.
Yep.
And I I for one would not mind seeing the Detroit Bears game hidden away at noon that Sunday, and let the other games. San Francisco, Seattle. San Francisco beat Seattle in week 1, so that's where they have a tiebreaker if they travel, or is it? Hold on, I'm sorry. Who's the home team?
It's
It's
going to
gonna be
be
San
in San Francisco because they played in Seattle to start the season.
San Francisco. So I would not mind if that's the 7:00 game on Sunday, because we might very well have a vested interest in the outcome of that game if Seattle goes to Carolina and
Well, I have a feeling that is going to be the Sunday night game, solely because the league doesn't want a situation where, say, if it's basically what they want to avoid is having the Bears or other teams say, "Okay, we have nothing to play for," because then you turn 4 meaningless games into 7 or 8 meaningless games because Ben Johnson, if he already knows the fate, he might just say, "Okay, we're locked into the 2 seed. We're resting our guys." They're gonna do it in a situation where they're forcing teams to play. They did in 2018, where they had the Bears and the Rams both play at the same time just to ensure. And that was the game where people were they asked Matt Nagy, is like, "Hey, are you gonna have a guy watching the game and just report down saying, hey, this is getting out of hand in the Rams game. They're gonna lock up this win, so you could pull guys out." And they actually did that midway through the fourth quarter, even though the Bears still had it was somewhat of a close game. I think they were only up by 13 points midway through the fourth quarter, and Matt Nagy said, "All right, we're getting all our guys out."
It was 24-10. Yeah, I remember that. That was and that was when the Vikings. Yeah, if the Vikings won, they would have made the playoffs.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean the Bears beat the shit out of them.
All right, got the last thing on the agenda is the stadium news, and I'm going to actually start the stadium news with what happened in Kansas City today. If those that are watching aren't aware, the Kansas City Chiefs announced plans to build their new stadium across the border into Kansas City, Kansas. It'll be in Olathe, Kansas, because it's like Chicago and East Chicago.
Yeah.
There's literally a Kansas City, Kansas, and a Kansas City, Missouri, that literally border each other. But it's and Kansas, the government of Kansas has literally rolled out not a red carpet, but a gold carpet.
Yeah.
They have literally promised the Chiefs $3 billion for the stadium and other buildings and infrastructure, Mr. Pritzker. So that said, last week before the game, and I'm sure many of us, me especially, thought the timing couldn't have been worse because the focus should have been nothing but on the game. He came out and said, "We are now going to expand our search once again, and this time include Northwest Indiana." And what happens? The governor of Indiana, he chimes in right away. "We're ready. We are going to welcome you with open arms. With the money that the Bears have set aside for the stadium, there's going to be literally, if that's the route that they want to go, there's literally going to be nothing the Bears are going to ask for that won't be granted by their sports authority, I believe, that they've created in Indiana." And the governor's already said, "We welcome the opportunity to bring in another premier football team to the state of Indiana." Of course, back in 1983, the Baltimore Colts loaded up the Mayflower trucks in the middle of the night and moved out of Baltimore into Indianapolis this wouldn't be such a cloak and dagger event because of just the sheer popularity of the Bears and what's going on. But I got to tell you guys, we've long known that the politics in Illinois is corrupt.
Really?
Yeah. This is not something that's earth shattering. You know, the state treasurer tried to hold them up for taxes in Arlington Heights already, and then of course they want what's the figure, like $869 million for infrastructure that they're asking the state to come up with, while they will take care of building the stadium with their own money.
Yeah.
And note to the government of Illinois that $860 million would be made up the first year that stadium opens, because of all of the income tax and tax revenue and all of the other monies that's going to come from the casino and the hotels and everything else in that stadium district in Arlington Heights.
Yeah.
Stevie, you're the one that lives in Chicago. Fire away.
It's comical because, so given where Arlington's at, the main access road would be Route 53. You have a metro line there. I know what they would do. I know because, like, I've been to what I would liken it to is the Dolphin Stadium. Dolphin Stadium is right off the highway, and they have a massive on-off ramp that they switch back and forth depending on coming to the game and then leaving the game. It dumps out right into their parking lot. The fact that Pritzker and the Illinois government is okay. The Bears met them halfway, said, "Hey, we'll fund the stadium, just take care of the infrastructure." The fact that the Illinois government wants to hold the Bears up for infrastructure is a joke, because the running joke with the Illinois, especially with Pritzker, is he loves road construction. He loves it's a cash cow for him. He loves it. And the fact that you would say, "Hey, yeah, you guys are going to build your own stadium. You can build it to where you can build all these things to where it's a year-round amusement park, basically. So it's year-round revenue for the state from a tax standpoint." And now you're saying, okay, that's not going to work for you. You guys have to pay for the infrastructure too. It's a joke. It's a joke at this point, because it's like, I like it into that Simpsons episode. If you guys are Simpsons fans, and for those that are watching out there, it's a Simpsons episode where they want to film the Radioactive Man movie in Springfield, and slowly but surely, Mayor Quimby and all the rest of the politicians and bureaucrats find every 5 minutes they're like, "Okay, we are charging you this new tax. We're charging you this new tax." And at the end of the episode, the movie's broke, and they have to move back to Hollywood because the city milked them dry for all the money that they had, and didn't let them make the movie, which would have put Springfield on the map.
It's just a joke. Dhruv, you're obviously you're now out on the West Coast, and I don't know what you know or hear from your associates back here in the Midwest, but at least a 35,000-foot view of what you're seeing with the Illinois politicians.
I still remember not vaguely, clearly what the issues were with the with the politics side in Illinois and Chicago and all that before leaving. So I can't say I'm surprised. Look, I think right now my understanding is the running story is we can't justify prioritizing building up a $1 billion entities stadium when all these people are starving and all this other shit. Like, fine, I understand the sentiment, but like, that's not really what's happening here. And so it's just posturing and what sounds good to the to the voting public. And I mean, it is what it is. I don't blame. I'm honestly, I mean, good for George to be okay with floating out the Indiana stuff, and Kevin Warren for putting that out there, because I mean, look, have the Bears botched this? 100%. But I think Kevin Warren's realizing that, look, the government and the politics in Minnesota, kind of a walk in the park compared to what you're dealing with in Illinois and Chicago and everything. So I think there's certainly a level of, oh shit, I'm kind of in over my head a little bit. And also like the Chicago and Illinois being very comfortable with thinking that McCaskey's not going to want to or ever be okay with leaving. And now that they floated this out there, that doesn't happen without McCaskey's okay. And McCaskey's not okaying that unless he's truly frustrated. And I think at the beginning of the year, I think McCaskey said something about, we haven't made enough progress. Like we need to get moving on this shit. And it was almost like a veiled threat in some ways to Kevin Warren. And more time has gone by. We're not going to have anywhere near a shovel in the ground in 2025, like, Kevin Warren was thinking we would. I mean, at this point, we're probably still many years away from getting a stadium wherever, outside of Soldier Field, which, I mean, as a neutral, observer who doesn't live in Chicago right now and doesn't have to deal with getting in and out of the stadium, I'm fine with it. I like it. I love the aesthetics of Soldier Field. So, I mean, that's fine. But look, the reality for the Bears is they need to own their own stadium as a business. And look, I mean, whether it happens in Arlington Heights, whether it happens in Northwest Indiana, whether I saw today that they're apparently re-engaging on the Michael Reese plot of land. Again,
I had not heard that part.
Yeah, it's something about, I think Mayor Johnson came out and said something about that. So I think I saw that earlier today. So if that's happening, like, look, it's clear like the Bears want to stay in Illinois. They want to stay, ideally probably in Chicago. Whether or not the city is okay with maybe at some point selling Soldier Field and that plot of land to the Bears. I mean, that might be a potential option in the future. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I think we're very far away from an actual resolution. And until that happens, I mean, yay for more cold weather games and stuff, because, I mean, look, when the Bears actually have talent, this shit matters. You cannot tell me that Bear weather is not a competitive advantage when the team actually has talent. Like, yes, if they suck, like if the talent sucks, like, yes, they're going to lose to better players, even if it evens out a little bit in terms of the weather. But dude, like like you saw what happened, to teams that have to come in and play in this weather. We've seen it happen in 2013 when the Cowboys came in. They didn't want to be out there. We saw it happen with Michael Vick in 2005. He didn't want to be out there. We saw it happen. I mean, the Browns didn't want to be out there, and they just took the Bills to the wire back, in better weather. Like, this shit.
The Brett Favre game in 2007, where he played in Lambeau. He played his whole career in Green Bay, and he was like, it was cold out there.
Yep. Exactly. This
you can go all the way back to the 1985 season, Dhruv, when the New York Giants came in to play the Bears in the playoffs, the first round of the playoffs, and I was at that game, and it was freaking cold, and the winds were gusty, and I can't remember the punter literally dropped the ball.
Sean Landetta.
He had a negative 6-yard punt that I believe it was Sean Gale picked up, and the shortest punt return for a touchdown in the history of the NFL. But it was freaking cold that day, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't tell me without a competitive advantage. So again, I don't care where they build the stadium in Arlington Heights, Chicago, Northwest Indiana, whatever. Do not put a fucking roof on that stadium. Do not do it.
Dhruv, it's gonna happen.
Unfortunately, it's gonna happen. And look what the Chiefs are doing. They're gonna build a dome too.
It's gonna happen, but I'm gonna rant about it. Don't fucking do it. Just don't do it. You're going to turn these things into. Anyway.
What I would love to see the Bears do is kind of like do what the Packers used to do with playing some of their games at Lambeau, some of their games in Milwaukee. Like, say, hey, you know what? They strike a deal with the city. Hey, yeah, we're moving into our stadium in 2029. We'll play 2-3 games at Soldier Field until 2031 or something like that. Just so you got a few extra years, and you always make sure you have one December game.
Yeah. I like, okay. How about this? What if, okay. Anyway, for theorizing, the Bears could still build a stadium that is outside of even Arlington Heights, right? Or they buy Soldier Field or whatever it is. Like, they could still do that.
Mhm.
Well, they can't buy Soldier Field, Drew. They can't. A public entity cannot buy land along the lakefront. There's a doctrine.
Friends of the lake would blow their they would go nuts.
You're telling me they won't amend that shit?
Oh, they can't.
No, they won't. No, there's a reason why nothing goes.
Friends of the park or not, there is actual in writing where a public domain cannot purchase property in that area of Chicago. But hey, guys, I want to throw something out here. Silent something or other. I can't read his name. But because I don't have my glasses on. So JB behind the scenes is planning to sue the Bears for breach of contract, even though they have the legal right to leave. They want the Bears to pay the rest for the 2003 renovations. Now, I don't know all of that, but
I've heard that they've wanted, like, if the Bears do break it, they want them to pay it back. I know Pritzker has said that. But I mean, here's the thing: the Bears are going to pay that off one way or another. Like, it's not a situation of like, hey, we're going to hold you at gunpoint for the money until then you're not playing at that other stadium. The Bears will work out an agreement where they pay that back at some point. It amazes me that, to Drew's point, what he said earlier, right? The state should not be paying in full for a new stadium for the Bears. The Bears should be paying for the stadium. Anything that involves infrastructure around the stadium, that should come from the state because it benefits the state in the long run. And then, I lost my train of thought.
Well, you're right. I mean, that
happens to me all the time because I have a really short train.
Yeah, but
Hey, guys, wait. Let's talk about infrastructure. What's needed? Because Arlington Heights oftentimes hosted 50,000 people at Arlington Park for racing events on weekends. 50,000. We're only talking 15 or 20,000, number one. And number two, over the course of an NFL game day, it's not like everybody rushes to the stadium and everybody rushes out of the stadium when it's over. There's people that get there early to tailgate and stay late to tailgate even more. You've got the Metro line in Arlington Heights that goes all the way out to Rockford or below Rockford to Harvard, I believe, is where the final stop is. So, and then of course it goes all the way to Chicago as well. To I don't know if it's Union Station or downtown, the downtown depot. So I'm not convinced that a shitload of infrastructure is actually needed that has to happen right away. It can happen over a period of years.
It does. What I'll say, it does need to happen because Route 53 does need to be renovated. The exits are not conducive to host NFL events right now. Being out there, I used to go to Arlington Heights to bet on the horses. The Metro, they said that the Metro station would have to be upgraded too. And I will liken it back to other NFL stadiums I've been to over the years. The Miami Dolphins stadium, I went to the Bears-Dolphins game and went into overtime. It took us over 2 hours to get out of the parking lot. It was a nightmare. Raiders Stadium, they shut down main roads to allow fans to come across the bridge from the hotels to get there. You're talking about shutting a main road down. You can't do that in Arlington Heights right now if you wanted to. And then Lambeau, you had like when I was there a few weeks ago, it is a gigantic stadium surrounded by trailer park homes or the single family homes. Getting out of there, and mind you, I was on a charter bus going to the game and leaving the game. Getting there 4 hours before kickoff, no issue. No one was there. They parked the bus in the charter bus lot, and we enjoyed the rest of the day.
Yeah, but getting out
was a pain in the ass because the game ended around 6:35. We got back to the charter bus after walking through the neighborhood and trying to get through the surrounding parking lot of the stadium because we parked 2 blocks away from the stadium. We got back to the bus around 7:30. The bus pulled out around 8 o'clock. We didn't get back to the main highway until 8:45. When we came off the main highway to go to the stadium, it was less than 5 minutes. It was you turn down this road, go 5 blocks, go down that road, maybe 8-9 blocks. That was it. But leaving the stadium is what was the issue at Lambeau and Miami. Thankfully, at the Raiders Stadium, they just shut it down to where they force people, hey, you're going to walk to this area. You're not driving here. And if you do drive, you're going to have to pay $250 for parking.
You know, when I didn't get to a Bears game this year. The last time I was there was opening day against the Titans the year before, and I've pretty much gone to at least a game or two every season. And you know, I live in Monroe, Wisconsin. It takes me an hour and 45 minutes to get to Arlington to 90 and 53. Okay. I drive down, I park at the Cumberland Street L station and take the blue line in, get off at Jackson Street and walk the rest of the way to Soldier Field. At my frickin' age, it's no easy task, but you know, you avoid all that bumper to bumper traffic, getting out, getting back. The hardest part is the frickin' how you get it's like getting into I don't know, a funnel, trying to get out of that stadium, to get out of the stadium, around the Field Museum, onto the trails, you know, in Grant Park. And
I will say it's actually like getting out of the Soldier Field. The times I've gone have been actually very easier because the last few games I've gone to, I've Ubered there or been dropped off by taxi, and both times I remember being back to my car, and I didn't park anywhere near the stadium. I think one time I parked in Roscoe Village and caught the taxi, and then the other time I parked in Wrigleyville. By both times, I was home by 4:30 after the game ended. 4:30. The 49ers game in 2017, I remember getting back to my car and going grocery shopping. This is in early December. I was home after I got done grocery shopping before the sun went down. And this is in December. That's how fast the exit out of there can be sometimes, because all you have to do is walk through the park, go to the other side of Grant Park, hail a Lyft or an Uber, and you're out of there. But they would definitely need improved infrastructure if they, especially with what they want to do with Arlington Heights, making a year-round function with casino, hotels, concerts, and all that.
The reality is, I mean, the logistics of getting people in and out of a stadium is hard. Like, it's not a lot of places do it well. So I think they would need to figure out something, especially to your point, Stevie, if they're, I mean, they're going to be building more. It's not just going to be the stadium. There's going to be all these experiences and, you know, residences and stuff. Like, there's a lot to do. And, you know, I think it's fair to ask for that funding. Now, how much is it? I haven't done that level of analysis, but I mean, it's like, it's, I think the government needs to get its shit together and realize, like, the Bears are, I don't think they're not bluffing at this point. Like, there's no, once McCaskey signed off on the Indiana stuff, I don't think it's a bluff. Of course, the Bears don't want to do it, but like, they will. It seems like they will. They're ready to.
They could possibly
what's
do it. But, imagine for a moment, if you will, okay, with the and we talked about this on the chat in our chat room, the Virginia McCaskey Angels in the outfield scenario that is it, and of course the Pope being from Chicago and all that's going on. If you imagine for a moment the Bears actually win the Super Bowl this year, how much pressure would that be on the state of Illinois to get things done?
It would be resolved by the end of the week. It would be resolved, I guarantee you, maybe 2 or 3 days after the Super Bowl parade. Because if you screw with the Chicago Bears after winning the Super Bowl, you're basically signing a death wish to your political career then.
I don't think Pritzker's going to get reelected anyway because of what he's been doing in which is
we don't need to get into that one, but
that's another show completely. And I won't get into
what I'll say though is, I mean, there've been documentaries. There've been it's if a sports team wins, that basically gives them carte blanche. The prime example, the Seattle Mariners in 1995. The kingdom was falling apart. They go on that magical run to make it to the ALCS, to where they lose to the. They didn't even win the World Series, but because of that, that was the reason why Seattle and the state of Washington said, "Shit, we got to give you guys your money. We got to build you guys a stadium because." And the same thing with the Seahawks too. It's constantly seen. You don't state governments do not want to lose major sporting teams. It's like what happened with the Chicago White Sox in 1990, where they had to stop time at the state house to get the funding done to keep the Sox from moving to Tampa Bay.
And did you know that Seattle's already lost one Major League Baseball team?
Yeah, they lost the. They lose. It wasn't the
Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, that's right.
Seattle Pilots.
Yep.
Stayed in Seattle all of one season and then moved to Milwaukee.
Well, they lost the Supersonics too. I mean, and that was after a stretch of success as well as a basketball team. They moved to Oklahoma.
Yeah, they lost them. They lost the Supersonics the year that they drafted Kevin Durant, which.
Dude,
wow.
That's another show. That's an all-time unacceptable result.
I still remember watching. I still remember staying up when the Bulls used to do the circus trip to watch them play the Seattle Supersonics in Kevin Durant's rookie season. I was like, "Oh my god, this is fun!"
Yeah,
but it just amazes me how and we saw what happened with the Chargers moving to Los Angeles, the Raiders moving to Vegas. NFL teams want their money, and unfortunately, if there's a difference from saying, "Hey, you're going to build us a brand new stadium, free of charge," compared to, "Hey, you know what? The state's going to take care of us better than you can."
Yeah. So it's funny that you mentioned that because I travel to Oakland I have been, at least this year, fairly frequently for work. And as you get out of the highway, head towards Oakland, I mean, the Oakland Coliseum is right on the highway. You can see it. You can see into the stadium from the highway going towards Oakland. Dude, that's an iconic place, and it is just desolate. There's nothing going on there anymore. And it's just so sad. What happens to these stadiums?
You lost two cornerstone sports teams in the Athletics and the Raiders. I used to love when either the Bears would go play Oakland or the White Sox would play in the Athletics because it's just a fun environment there.
So cool.
You had the black hole. You had true Raider fans. You had the A's. I'm a huge baseball fan, and the one thing I love the most is West Coast late night baseball. Give me the 9 p.m. start on a weekend, and that's my weekend where I'm like, hey, you know what? Sox are on the West Coast against the Angels or Athletics. If I don't have anything going on, I'm watching the freaking game.
There you go.
And I know they're still playing. They're going to be playing in Sacramento and Vegas, but it doesn't hit the same way as it did when they were playing in Oakland.
No.
Absolutely. Well, guys, been a hell of a show, and I think I can speak for all of us that we will reconvene 2 weeks from tonight to preview the NFL playoffs. What do you think?
It's nice to hear, man.
Clear your schedules for Tuesday, 2 weeks from today at 7 o'clock Central to make sure we get this in, because there's going to be a boatload of excitement. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a Bears bye week.
Hopefully, that's what I want.
That would be nice.
Stevie Push, Dhruv Cole, Stevie's still with Shy City Sports.
We're working that out right now.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Nah, you're good.
Dhruv, are you still with Sports Mockery?
Yes.
All right, and I'm out of work. I no longer write, but that's okay. I have fun in our chat rooms and with other crap that I'm doing. So until 2 weeks from tonight, I want to thank everybody for joining in. I want to thank everybody for the comments that we talked about. This is guys, this is the Bears in the playoffs in 2025. Who would have thunk it? Well, obviously Dhruv and I did, because I predicted 11-6. He predicted 10-7. Stevie, what the hell happened to you?
I can't remember. I got to look at that what I predicted. If you can, send me the link to our preview show and let me know, and I'll watch it and I'll see how off I was.
And by the way,
guys,
real quick before we break, just one thing to whoever's watching. This was a year of like pretty much no expectations. Next year, beyond expectations actually begin. So this year, while it's kind of house money, enjoy it, because this is fun and carefree for everybody.
Guys, also Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Yeah, the next year the Bears cannot sneak up on anybody. All right, guys. Merry Christmas, Stevie. Merry Christmas, Dhruv, to you and your lovely one. And my wife is probably sleeping upstairs already. So you guys have a great night, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks, everybody, for all of your questions and comments. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It'll help the algorithm for the channel so more people can find us. And bear down and good, better, best. Good night, everybody.